Hello, this is Karen Harrison. Welcome to September 2023 Reiki Call. My website is karenharrison.net. I'm glad you're here. And I want to let you know that my next class is Animal Reiki. It's coming up this coming weekend, and I'm going to do it in person and online. So if somebody has had Reiki 2 or higher and they want to take Animal Reiki, still have a couple of spots left. And the fun thing is, we're going to go to an animal shelter and work on wildlife. So last time I was there, they had baby possums and raccoons. It was so cute, and snake and turtles. Right now, I think they only have turtles, but who knows? Maybe they'll get more. Or if not, at my lake, we have all kinds of birds, fish, butterflies, deer, and coyotes, and all sorts of stuff. Okay, well, we're going to start with a brief meditation, something that I have been practicing to fill up my energy. And this is something that anybody can do, whether they have Reiki or not. It's one of the exercises I taught in my presentation at the Reiki Retreat on Reiki for empaths and highly sensitive people. So if you want, you can remain seated, or you can stand up. I'm going to stand. I just have to go back a little ways to get my body on the camera. Anyway, what we're going to do is we're going to fill our bodies with earthly energy and with heavenly energy. So we'll do it one at a time. First, we'll do it with earthly energy, and then we'll intend to bring it all the way up to our heads, and then we're going to expand it and fill our bodies and our auras with the energy. Okay? So inhale, earth to head, and expand the energy, filling your body and aura. Okay, inhale, and expand it, and inhale, and expand. And now we're going to bring in energy from the heavens, head to feet. Inhale, and expand. Fill your aura. Okay, inhale, and expand. Inhale, and exhale and expand. Okay, so that's to fill us up. And then we are going to protect our energy field. Now, of course, you can do this with a Reiki symbol, but you can also imagine like a ring of Reiki symbols in creating like an oval all the way around your aura. You can also imagine, I don't know, currently my protective bubble has a ring of opal stones, because that's my birthstone, and then a ring of, let's see, today it has tourmaline. Okay, tourmaline on the outside, because tourmaline is a very good stone at repelling and absorbing energy. But it could be anything you want. It could be stones, it could be a rainbow, it could be Reiki symbols. So take a moment and just create your protective bubble around your energy field. Okay, so that exercise is really good for anybody who tends to pick up other people's energy, absorb energy, physical, emotional symptoms. So the class that I taught at the retreat I thought, well, I'm going to expand on that and turn it into an online class for whoever's interested, because I thought, oh, I bet some people could benefit from that material. Yes. Okay. And then today we don't really have time to go around and share about what your protective bubbles look like, but in that class we will, that's one of the things we'll do. We'll take more time with it. So today, first I want to give you just an overview of the Reiki Retreat, and then I want to start answering the questions that were just sent to me and any other questions that you all have. And then if we run out of your questions, I have about 36 pages typewritten of questions I've accumulated over the years that some of them I still haven't answered. I've been working my way through these on past Reiki calls. Okay, so the International Center for Reiki Training, Reiki Retreat, we just had it in Sedona, Arizona at the Mago Retreat Center. It's beautiful there. And we've been doing it every Labor Day. About 150 people gathered and another, 15 or so online. So it was marvelous. So here's some of the things we did. Colleen Benelli and her daughter Robin went over sharing blessings from animal Reiki and the earth, and how we are exchanging blessings with the animals when we give them Reiki. And if you send Reiki to the earth, you're exchanging blessings. For example, like if you ever place your hands on a tree and give the tree Reiki, the tree will give you energy back, and it will also answer your questions. If you want to ask the tree questions, then if you listen, you can listen for the answers. So for example, one time I was lost in the woods when there was snow out at a retreat, and I didn't know how to get back to the retreat center. And I was ready to go back. I was cold, tired, and thirsty. So since nobody was coming out looking for me, I asked the tree which way the retreat center was. And the tree said, well, the retreat center is that way, but if you want a shortcut, you can go that way. So I took the shortcut and got back there. Another topic that we had was Reiki and Kids. Shelley Kammermeyer, Cami Cote, and April Walker, 3 of our licensed teachers, are working on creating a class for adults on how to teach Reiki to kids. So they're going to be rolling that out in December. Then their website is reikikid.love. So if you're interested in that, you can check that out. And then, my presentation on Reiki for Empaths, where we did a lot of experiential exercises with Reiki, and some, that you can do without Reiki, on how to know what you have picked up, what to do with it, how to protect your energy field, basically how to clear your energy, how to restore your energy, and how to protect your energy. So that's what I talked about. So that's what my class will entail, and more when I get it all done. William Rand presented on Reiki for an Evolving World, and he likes to give us updates on the history of Reiki. And he's been hearing that maybe Dr. Usui didn't actually have the power symbol and the mental emotional symbol, and that they might have come later. So he's waiting for the research on that. I forgot who it was that he was looking at. So one of the Reiki people outside of the ICRT has done some research and is writing a book. So we'll see what they come up with. They said Dr. Usui just had the distance symbol. And then energetic sovereignty and boundaries, Cami Cote presented on that. So she and I actually talked on pretty similar material. We had a concert, a talent show, morning yoga. Arthur Barrett presented on Reiki and sound healing. I missed that presentation because I was getting a little self-care session massage. But the cool thing is they recorded it, so I'm going to watch it as soon as those links come out. And then Colleen Benelli, along with Don McMahon and Chris Valentine, presented an amazing gratitude ceremony with song. Chris Valentine talked about apply Reiki to enhance your passion. So she talked about how she used Reiki to create music and jewelry. And basically, Reiki is good for any sort of creative endeavor, you know, whether it's writing, dancing, gardening, sewing, whatever it is that you like to do, building trucks. Science and Reiki, Dr. Ann Baldwin gave us an update on the latest research on Reiki. So there's more and more good research studies coming out. And if you're interested in science, then check out Center for Reiki Research.org, because they have all the latest information on the studies. And Ann Baldwin had some really great slides. I asked her if she might be able to convert those into a PDF and place them on that website, because that would really help people to know about the latest Reiki research. And people can go there if they want to design good quality research. And in fact, they'll give you pointers and tips, and they have articles and information on that, so that if you do research, it's research that will be valuable and something that you can get published. Jules Davis gave us a legislative update, and we've been dealing with some licensure laws in Massachusetts that are trying to limit the practice of Reiki. So if you go to reiki.org and follow us on Facebook or Instagram, they've been posting information about that. Well, that was our main website. You can also go to reiki.org and click on the button Keep Reiki Free, so you can find the information there. And they're trying to pass safe harbor laws, which would exempt Reiki practitioners and other complementary medical practitioners whose work cannot cause harm from being regulated. So we're trying to get those laws passed so that we're not, you know, constantly fighting that. And I think about 12 states currently have safe harbor laws. So we need to get those passed in more states, because we don't want Reiki practitioners to have to become a massage therapist or a nurse in order to practice Reiki. And that is what some people are trying to require. Okay, and then Pam LeBlanc gave a really great presentation on how to integrate Reiki into your career and life, and talked about how you could use Reiki in a wide variety of careers. And if you don't have her book, the Reiki Business Book, it's really great. It covers Reiki in any kind of business, whether you're an esthetician, a massage therapist, a nurse, an occupational therapist, an accountant, a truck driver, a manufacturing worker, any kind of profession. So she addresses a lot of that in her book, and she's going to be coming out with a new book with more information. So yeah, that's what we did. We also shared Reiki and had meditations, and it was great. Okay. So now, Janice, are you the one that sent me the question about just a minute ago? I forgot what it was. Yes. What do you do when someone you know is hurt or struggling, and you know they are opposed to Reiki and alternative healing? Is there an ethical way to offer them Reiki?
Karen, I don't know if it's just me, but okay, it's not just me. Yeah, there's echoing.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry. So Janice, I have to mute you because I don't know what's going on, but it's echoing. So basically the question is, what do you do to offer Reiki to someone who doesn't want it? Well, you can offer them prayers and love. Okay. And another thing that you could do is you could say a prayer and ask their higher self for permission to send Reiki. You know, you could try sending it knowing that Reiki can do no harm. And if someone, you know, on some level doesn't want it, then the energy just will not do anything. So William Rand did an experiment with a clairvoyant where he sent Reiki to his parents who he knew would not want Reiki. And the clairvoyant observed that the Reiki went towards their energy field, but then it just dissolved and did not get absorbed into their energy field. And then he sent Reiki to someone who he knew would want it, and the clairvoyant observed the energy going into the energy field and being absorbed. So any other ideas that you all have about what you would do with someone who had said they don't want Reiki?
I've faced that a lot.
Yeah. Okay. What did you do, Pat?
Well, sometimes I just do like you said, I wait and I hope and I wish. And a few times when I thought it was really important, I mean, you know, really seriously important, I ignored the no. I did it anyway with just from a distance. I didn't go up and face them with it. I just, you know, stood back and I frequently would see them kind of relax.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, don't ever give hands-on Reiki to someone that has said they don't want it.
No.
That would be a no. So, you know, I just encourage you to say a prayer and ask for your guidance about that.
I would also wonder what their reason was for not wanting it. If it's just that they don't believe it'll work, or that they just aren't open to the idea, that would be one thing. But if they really have I don't know, some kind of like a religious, you can't do healing on me kind of thing, then that might be another reason to just step back and respect their wishes.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so that was the case, Janice. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, everybody has the right for their whatever spiritual beliefs they have. And, you know, some religions are taught that Reiki is not acceptable. So that's fine. They have a right to their opinion. And, you know, you can send prayers instead if they're open to receiving prayers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, do any of you online have any other questions?
I have one that you made me think of when you mentioned that Reiki can do no harm.
Uh-huh.
I was reading an article just the other day, and it raised questions for me and I wish I could remember the article exactly, but they were saying never send Reiki when someone's in surgery. It can interfere with the anesthesia. Never send Reiki to a fractured bone. It can cause the bone to start setting incorrectly. Things like that. Have you ever encountered those kinds of thought processes before? Because that was the first for me.
Of course. Oh yeah, those are old. Those are Reiki myths.
Just
those are Reiki myths. So I've actually heard of cases where people have given Reiki to someone who had broken a bone, and it whatever, you know, it healed it enough that the person didn't end up having to have, you know, like the surgery on it, and they were able to get by with a lesser treatment. So there's something called the golden hour. And well, that would be the first 24 hours after any kind of injury, whether it's something small, like I've done this before. I dropped a whole water bottle that was not a glass, but a water bottle on my toe, you know, gave Reiki right away, and then it never even bruised. I also put lavender oil on it. But the first 24 hours are especially potent for any sort of accident. So, it's always good to send Reiki right away. And for surgery, actually, the research shows that a patient receiving Reiki prior to surgery helps the patient to be calmer, more relaxed, need less anesthesia, possibly. And after surgery, when they receive Reiki, that they also are able to get out of the hospital quicker, they need less pain medication, lower stress and anxiety. So those are some of the studies that I like to cover in my classes. So giving Reiki, and we have had Reiki practitioners in some operating rooms. Okay. So there's been some articles about that. Occasionally a surgeon will allow you in. However, you don't need to be there. You can just sit wherever you are and send Reiki. I think it's like when my son fell and had a seizure and broke his shoulder, when he was in surgery, I sat in the lobby and I gave him Reiki the entire time. So it's not going to interfere with the anesthesia. It will only help. And you send Reiki to the doctors, to the nurses. You send it to the waiting room to clear the energy. You send it to the patient, and just intend, for the highest good of all concerned. Okay, Christina, yeah, what did you want to say?
Yeah, I would just want to say yes. As you know, and I don't think anybody else here, my daughter has a really bad autoimmune disorders, and she had to have 2 new joints on her jaw. And so, yes, totally replaced, she's Titanic there. And so I sent Reiki to her. I went with her in the hospital, and I also sent Reiki to the surgery, to the doctors and everybody who was involved. And the doctors said that was miraculous. I mean, they have never seen anybody heal as quick as she did, and that was the second time, because the first time when we did this, she had to have like a cage put around her vertebrae, on both sides. They had to, and the same thing, she healed so fast, they couldn't believe it, because she has Ehlers-Danlos. I have to say it that way, it's every joint and everything kind of just gives out. And the doctors were like, they couldn't even believe that she was healing so fast. I just looked at her and I said, you know what it is? Reiki, Reiki, Reiki. So yeah, each and every time. It works wonders for me.
Well, that's amazing. Does anybody else have any stories about giving Reiki to someone during surgery? Yeah, Colin?
So can you place a card in a Reiki grid and let the person who's receiving it know that you're sending them energy that they can receive, be open to it any time? My brother-in-law just had surgery. He was very, very sick today. And I've reminded him that the energy is there for him to receive when he wants it.
Okay. Yes. I mean, you're talking about charging up the Reiki crystal grid and putting his name in it and sending Reiki. Yes, you can do it that way. And, whenever I have a family member that's in need, I like to dedicate some time to send them Reiki using the teddy bear technique or doll technique. So let me show you. I have my doll, and I just intend it to be a proxy for the person, and then connect with the distance symbol and any other symbols that you have. And then you can focus Reiki energy specifically on their problem areas. So, for example, I did this for my mother. She had fallen and broken her leg. She fell out of, or I guess she fell in the restroom, and her leg broke. So, I sent Reiki to her leg and, all the way up to her hip for healing, so that I could focus specifically on that. And if you have a family member in need, it'd be really optimal to be able to send Reiki every day for 15 minutes to an hour or more. I had one of my Reiki students in Texas whose nephew had severe heart issues, and he was only given a 2% chance of survival. And my Reiki student started sending his nephew Reiki for 18 hours a day for about 3 or 4 days. And within about, I don't know, it was a week or so, the nephew fully recovered and was discharged out of the hospital. So let's see. So you mentioned anesthesia. Oh, and then if a broken bone. Okay. Do you have any other Reiki myths that you've heard, Michelle?
No, well, and I'll tell you what made me ask that is because, as I told you previously, when I had my surgeries, I was having healing sent to me.
Mm-hmm.
And Christina, same thing. The doctors were just like, so I was wondering, how do you know when or when, then if sometimes it's bad and sometimes it's good, because my experience has been all phenomenal with it, and being on the receiving end of it, but I wouldn't want to send anything that but I don't think I have. I'll let you know if I hear anything.
Well, Reiki is love. And, when would love not be appropriate?
Right.
So it's always appropriate unless, a person has said they don't want it, or, just don't give hands-on Reiki to someone that doesn't want it. And
Right.
another Reiki myth is you don't give Reiki to pregnant women. So that's false. I've treated many women with Reiki all the way up to, within about a week of their delivery, the last time they came in for a session, and sent Reiki for their births. And, they have healthy babies, and some midwives are trained in Reiki, and that's especially helpful to women. Okay, well, that was good. Any other questions that you all have? I'm going to grab my sheet. I think, where did I put it?
Karen,
Yeah.
in the Reiki research that you've heard about,
Uh-huh.
what's the thing that most surprised you?
The Reiki research.
Uh-huh.
Oh, let's see here. Well, they've got some very interesting studies that they've done, some of them with like rats, many with people, where the early studies were done with the rats, and now they're doing more interesting studies with all sorts of things, like after surgery, and measuring patients' experience in the hospital with receiving Reiki sessions. The research shows that Reiki is effective for stress, depression, anxiety, patient well-being, practitioner well-being, so that's the person that is giving the Reiki, that helps them to reduce their stress. And it's good for, recovery from surgery. It's also shown to be good for chemotherapy patients. Now, Ann Baldwin went over a lot of other studies, and I cannot remember those off the top of my head, but she has a book called Reiki and Clinical Practice, and you can Google that. I don't know if it's available on Amazon, but it's available, I know, from Handspring Publishers. And I just brought that book home from the retreat, so that has lots of good information in
What
it.
was her name?
Ann Baldwin. So yeah, I'm hoping that she'll put her slides up there, because that would be that would be really good. I wish I remembered more. So that's what I can tell you, Pat.
Thank you so much.
Sure. Okay. So Janice was asking, can you send Reiki to a person with a pacemaker? Absolutely. Yes, that's a great thing to do. That is not a problem. You're not going to interfere. Now, if you start doing regular Reiki sessions, here's a story from one of my students. He started sending Reiki to his father every day for, I don't know, 30 minutes to an hour, because he was having some medical issues. And the father actually got worse, and they went in to check his medication levels. And it turned out that after he'd been sending Reiki to his father over a period of a few weeks, his father's body started working better, and now he was over medicated, and they needed to reduce the level of medications. So I tell the people that I work with, if you're going to be doing Reiki regularly for a family member on medications, tell them to watch their medications and monitor them with their doctor. Well, I also want to address some of the questions that were sent in to me. Kristen Carvani wanted to know, what are some of the most important things that a Reiki teacher can do to help themselves? Okay, so I thought, well, that would be a good discussion. I can think of a bunch of things, but hey, let's start with you all. What do you think a Reiki teacher needs to do to help themselves? Okay, yeah, Christina.
Self-Reiki, self-care. I think these are the most important things.
Yeah, well, how much self-Reiki?
Daily, if possible,
Daily.
even if it's just 15 minutes. I know we all have life, but 15 minutes, and even if it's just on the fly, as long as you give Reiki, it's better for you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So explain what you mean of Reiki on the fly.
Reiki on the fly, if you don't have no time, and if you just go ahead and you maybe wash up or you sit and get your shoes on, you can go ahead and do Reiki already all over, put your bubble around you if you have to, send the blessings to the day. I always, when I go somewhere, usually if I have to register something, I send Reiki to the people in there, so that we all have a good day, sending love, sending, the Reiki so that everything works out fine. It's just, if it's just like a moment, what you thought about, in the Reiki world. And then I think massages and stuff like this really good, what is good for your soul, yoga, whatever, you go walking. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, if you're walking, what can you do with Reiki, Christina?
You can meditate and you can send Reiki to nature and to Mother Earth and to the animals. And yeah.
Yeah, Reiki trails. So that's one of the
Yes.
things we teach.
Yes.
Reiki.
I love those. Yep.
You draw a Reiki symbol on the bottoms of your feet, or intend it, and intend that you are placing Reiki wherever you are walking. So that's good, whether it's in your home or outside or your office. Reiki trails. So yeah, give yourself Reiki. Okay, what else can you do? What are other good things that Reiki teacher, practitioner can do to help themselves? How about receive a Reiki session? Okay, let me ask a hard question here. How many of you have received a Reiki session within the last 2 weeks from someone? Ooh, yay! Well, you all get a gold sticker. Normally when I ask that, no, there's hardly anybody that has. When I asked that at the Reiki retreat, maybe, I don't know, 10% of people a small portion. So yes, receive a Reiki session every 2 weeks to at least once a month. That's important. Receive Reiki from someone else, because someone else might have another view on what's going on with you that, can help you. And, it's important to work on clearing out all of our old issues. I like to tell people, if you think of things that have an emotional charge on a scale of 0 to 10, anything that has a charge of greater than a 2 is something to send some Reiki to work on clearing it out. Because why carry it around, like a ball and chain, and drag it. We don't need to carry it with us. So you send Reiki to that, to heal it. I've got some articles on my website about that. Transforming Emotions with Reiki, Lessons from Holy Fire, some other ones. I sent Dave the links to all those articles. Now I don't remember the names of all of them. Anyway, I've written a lot of articles. If you go to my website, KarenHarrison.net, click on Reiki articles, and then click on featured Reiki articles. Those are my best articles. Many of the others are blogs that are short, and they're mostly for Google search engine results. So you can check those out. So working on clearing out our old issues is good. Now, what about taking a class? Maybe there's a level of class you haven't had yet. Maybe you could go on to Karuna Reiki, where you learn 8 new symbols for healing, and you learn how to do chanting and toning to add vibrational healing. Or maybe you go on to take an animal Reiki class, or a kid Reiki class, or a Reiki sound healing class. There's a number of the ICRT teachers that are teaching Reiki sound healing, Reiki and crystals, a whole class on that. I thought that would be fun. You could read Reiki books, or subscribe to the Reiki News magazine and read the articles. And then if you're not much of a reader, you can go to the ICRT YouTube channel and watch videos. You can get Reiki tips off of my Facebook page, Whole Life Center, or off of the ICRT Facebook or Instagram pages. So lots of ways to get Reiki inspiration. You could also attend the Reiki Retreat next year. That would be really good. You could contact one of the people that you took your class with and do a Reiki trade. That's free Reiki. Free Reiki is always good, and maybe your classmate might be really happy to hear from you. If your teacher shared the class list, then, just offer to do a trade with someone. Any other ideas that you all have? Okay, here's some more. If you have Reiki Master, you can give yourself a placement, to give yourself an additional boost for Reiki 1 or 2, or the Reiki Master Practitioner symbol, which is the Sui Master symbol. You could also give yourself an ignition to light yourself up. You could do any of the meditations for yourself, like the Holy Love meditation. You could read it into the little app on your phone that is under utilities. You can record it and then play it back for yourself. You can do Holy Fire meditation.
Could you explain that again? What you just said about your phone?
Sure. In your phone, at least on my iPhone, there's a utilities section, and there's this little thing called voice memos. So anyway, voice memos, you can just record things. So you can record yourself. Now, if you have an Android phone, I don't know, but there it is, voice memos. Now, holy fire meditation. So if you have the Sui Holy Fire Reiki Masterclass, then you learned how to do holy fire meditation. And here's a cool way to do it. You get a candle, you light it, you activate your holy fire energy, and then you put your hands on your body while you gaze at the flame. Or if you have a fire pit, you know, gaze at the fire and just meditate on the holy fire energy. So I have a fire pit. I hadn't thought of that before. It just dropped into my mind. So I'm going to try that the next time if I'm not too concerned about what I have going up in the flame. Last time silly me stuck a bag of dried leaves on top of some burning logs, and then the whole bag started floating up in the air into the trees. And I thought, oh no, what's going to catch the, yeah. Very nice drawing. So I thought, oh gosh, I hope that it doesn't catch the trees on fire. I think I need to have some lessons in fire starting. Because after that, then the thing went out. It didn't burn. Okay, here's another idea. God, these ideas just keep coming. You can review a Reiki class. So that's a great way. And for anybody that's taken any of my class levels, if you've had the class level with me before, you can review the class for just the deposit fee. And you get a new manual and a new certificate. So ask your teacher about reviewing one of the class levels, and that will give you a Reiki boost. Plus, you're in a whole different position than you were when you first took the class. You have different questions. Maybe you're going to review it from the standpoint of teaching it. So that's a really good thing to do. Say you want to teach a Reiki 1 and 2 class. Well, go review it with your teacher first and see how they're teaching and decide, what do I like about what the teacher's, you know, her style or his style, and, you know, what would I want to do different? How can I make it my own? You know, and try that to review a class. So many things. And then other things that Christina mentioned, you know, like taking care of your body, you know, with exercise and diet. I have used Reiki to change my diet up, because I have to tell you, when I got into Reiki, my idea of a healthy lunch was to go to Dairy Queen and get a hot fudge blizzard with a banana in it. Oh, yeah. It didn't work so well, especially later I found out I was lactose intolerant, and I would just become bloated and gassy all afternoon. Plus all that sugar, you know, then would put me to sleep. Anyway, you can use Reiki to help you develop healthier habits. Yes, Christina?
You also can Reiki your food, you know, to bring the energy higher, you know. So yeah, you can also have aromatherapy with the Reiki and enhance your sessions or for yourself.
Oh, yes. Get your favorite essential oil, hopefully good quality. I prefer Young Living. And put a couple drops in your hands, rub your hands together, cup your hands over your nose. Activate some Reiki, breathe in Reiki and the aroma of like peace and calming or stress away or lavender. Those are good. Okay, well, that was a lot of ideas. Any other ones that you all can think of? Okay, now Kristen Carvani sent me some hard questions. So the next question she asked me was like, what's the hardest question that I've ever had? And I think it's one that I most recently had. So I thought maybe I would just share the screen because it was a rather long one, and this was just not in my area of expertise. So just a moment, let me go ahead and do that. So the question was, do the three heavens relate to the shamanic middle, lower, and upper worlds? And I had no idea because I have not studied shamanism that much. Oh, is that your question, Michelle?
I asked you that when we were in class.
Yes,
Sorry
yes.
about that. I didn't mean to throw a hard one.
Well, that's okay. Hey, now we're getting to discuss it. So what did I do? I immediately went to the Facebook group that I have with the other ICRT licensed teachers and asked their input on that. And Jay Jackson said in his Latter-day Saint Mormon upbringing, they have a belief in the three kingdoms of heaven. With Holy Fire, I think of it as being multidimensional and that it can relate to many spiritual teachings. There's many variations to universal truths. So then I'll just go over what Cami Cote and Colleen Benelli said. So Cami says, not exactly. The lower world and shamanic studies is where we go to journey with our spirit animals to seek replenishment and to seek answers. I personally see the lower world as third heaven energy. So that's the domain of beings that are only love, pure and have healed egos. So the middle world would be most similar to the first heaven because it's described as the earth that we live on, but it's also a higher dimension energy. So not exactly first or second heaven energy energetically either. The upper world would be similar to the third heaven or higher. We journey there for high vibrational connections to my guides. And then Colleen Benelli, she ought to be the ultimate authority on it because she has a doctorate in shamanism. So she says, in her experience, the lower world and the upper world are both enlightened realms and work with enlightened or highly conscious beings. The lower world connects to power animals. The upper world connects to enlightened beings. The middle world is most similar to our second heaven. I do think they have a different energy. And even though there are similarities, I find they are different spiritual locations. So I wouldn't describe them as the same. However, they are spiritual realms that can be accessed with Reiki. In my personal work now, I mostly engage with the 12 heavens spiritual realms and 11 levels of consciousness. So the 12 heavens are what we're using in Holy Fire Reiki. And we talk about the levels in class, and it's in the manual. Basically, it's the realm of the world of form working into the realm of formlessness. And each one has its own area of expertise. But in your meditation, you can, kind of journey to whatever level of heaven you want, or you can just intend to go to a higher realm and meditate there and see what you get, whether it be just merging with the all that there is, or if you're a visual person, maybe you would see colors or enlightened beings there, or have other kinds of spiritual experiences. I'm more of a feeling person, so mostly I just feel the energy and I see light, but I may not have some of the grand visions that some of my students have. So Colleen says, I also use Reiki when I want to travel to the lower or upper worlds. I use the symbol as a bridge of light to travel to them. Like the others who commented, this is my experience, and other people may have different experiences. So anyone here have anything they want to add about that?
I think it was Colleen, the last person.
Yes.
commented? That
Uh-huh.
was my understanding. It threw me when you were talking about the three heavens in class, because it felt like it was reverse of what I had learned of the lower, middle, upper. So I was trying to figure out, are they supposed to be kind of the same thing, or are we talking two completely different, universes here?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I think the answer was there's some similarities, but they're different locations. It's kind of a different way of explaining the world.
Yes. Okay.
Okay. And Dave, you had a comment. I muted you because there was some feedback.
Okay. Yeah, I think we talked about Colin had just completed his Fire 3 Reiki Master in July.
And Dave, we've got some pretty bad feedback there and clicking noises. It's kind of hard to hear you.
Okay.
I don't know if you're able to fix your sound.
Okay. Anybody the volume? No?
I don't know. You could try it again. It was making a lot of clicking noise.
Well, why don't I turn this over directly to, because he has questions about feeling the Reiki energy. Colin?
Okay, Colin, I don't know if you know what he's asking you.
Well, I'm very new on my journey here. I'm the newborn in this group for sure. So in July, I finished my master training with Dave, and I listened to a lot of podcasts and a lot of people talking about Reiki and the journey. I don't feel any of the experiences that people do when they get their holy fire ignition. And the only thing I ever feel is the tingling in the palms of my hands when I activate Reiki and the symbols. And it's interesting outside with nature, there's so much that needs it. And when I open up my palms and activate the symbols, I can really feel it emanating very energetically through my palms. But that's about it. And I've seen it takes people sometimes a year or more for the energy to grow and feel it. And I think in the beginning I'm probably really impatient because it's only been a few months.
Okay, so you're saying that you feel some energy flowing out of the palms of your hands. That's great. So you were hoping
that's the sum of it.
You were hoping for, like to be, like feel a touch from God or
oh yes,
bells and whistles. And so it's good to let go of attachment to that, Colin. Let go of attachment to the outcome. I have an article on my website called Be Open to Results, not attached to them and also not attached to your experiences. Many of my students have really grand visions and they're able to see auras much more easily than me. And I've been practicing Reiki for 30 years. But I feel energy. Each of us has different high sense perceptions that can be developed, and if you're feeling the energy, that's great. I've had some of my students that just never really felt the energy, but their clients felt the energy. So that's really what the most important thing is. Oh, I also addressed this in my article on increasing the flow of Reiki energy. Because I was writing about that, and then William Rand offered his suggestions and said, well, it's important to find out if the client is feeling it. And, sometimes even clients don't feel it so much the first session. Sometimes it takes their body a little while to really be open to receiving, the more that they can relax, the more likely they are to feel the energy. But if someone is really uptight and really in their head, they may not feel it. So I just suggest that you trust and continue working with it. And, over time, it's just kind of like with meditation. Sometimes people want to have some great results in meditation, but the point of meditation is really to do the practice and not to have any particular attachment to results. Okay. Okay. Christina first, and then Michelle, and then we'll work on wrapping up.
Yeah, I just want to say to Colin, basically what you said. I'm a lifelong learner, and I take a whole lot of classes to develop also the Reiki, and I had always also some classmates. They were like unsure, like you were in that moment, thinking, "Oh my God, I'm not feeling it. I don't know if I'm good enough. I don't know if I get it. Do I do it right?" And then they went ahead and did Reiki on me, and I was like, I gave feedback. It was amazing. I can feel. It doesn't matter if I can feel a whole lot. And when I gave that insurance, I guess you say it, so I'm that confident that it works. It works fantastically. It was right away a totally different outlook. So maybe you want to, when you give somebody Reiki, maybe after the fact, like a conversation, and how did it feel? Do you feel better? Not how it felt, and they will give you feedback. They say, "Oh yeah, it was lighter, and I felt something just go through me. I'm free," and or something cleared, or it was scribbly, or oh, it's had colors. So this is something what with every client what you're going to have, or with every family member, or they can give you feedback that way, so that you're not, I'm sure it's just like Karen said, everybody is different, everybody feels different. It doesn't mean that you less, and you're feeling, you can feel those tingles. So you do have to Reiki regardless, after your, I don't know, attunement or ignition, you have the Reiki energy regardless what you do. Just be a little bit assured of that. That's all I had to say. I get out.
Okay, thanks. And Michelle?
I was just going to say, you were talking about letting go of the attachment. And I was just going to give an example of that. When I first started receiving Reiki as a client, my practitioner, he always had that conversation, which I think is a wonderful idea. It just, what did you see, feel, experience, that sort of thing. But my first session, what I experienced was, oh my God, am I laying right? Are my eyes supposed to stay closed? Oh man, my shirt feels uncomfortable. Oh, I have a tickle. What do I do? I mean, that was my whole first session, was totally in my head. So what did you feel? I feel relaxed, I guess. But the second time I got all excited because I was like, I felt buzzy, and I mean, he just laughed at me then, but honestly, eventually it really kicked in for me, and my medication doses went down and results came. But it may happen the first time, it may not,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that is so important.
I think I had attachments to the results as much as any practitioner could have had when I went in for my first session. So
yeah, so relaxing is so important. And so in my article on increasing the flow of Reiki, I talked about ways to address that. And one of them would be to have the client lay face down. That's a trick massage therapists do, because if you're laying face down, first of all, it's kind of hard to talk, for those people that come in and want to talk through their whole session, if they're real chatty. I mean, that can be fine, but it's really better if some of the time there's silence and they're quiet and can just turn within and relax. So I really appreciate you all contributing to this discussion. It makes it a lot more interesting when we hear multiple viewpoints, and I also appreciate your questions. And we'll we'll do this again. I'll intersperse it with guest speakers and questions. The questions are how I originally started, because I thought, well, this is a good way for, you know, my students or whomever to come online and, you know, we can talk about any aspect of Reiki that we want, answer your questions, address the Reiki myths. You know, there may even be a Reiki myth book out there. I don't know. One of my friends was going to write it. I don't know if she did or not, but there's plenty of Reiki myths. So always good to address those and let you know, really the only couple of things I tell people is follow the Reiki ethics. You know, don't touch the breasts or the genitals if it's not your partner. And check those little knobs on your table before your clients get on, because if they are loose and wobbly and the leg falls off during a Reiki session, that would be a bad thing. So, you know, that's basically it. All right. Well, if you all have ideas of things that you would like to see me address as future topics, or people you would like me to interview, then send me an email. My website again is karenharrison.net. I'd be happy to hear from you all. And thank you all so much for joining, and just send you all love and blessings and gratitude. And thanks for being here. Okay. Good night.